Further my point, thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, the average person couldn't read. They didn't know how to read, all right? The only people that had access to knowledge, right, were the rich and powerful. They could read, they could buy books, they could teach themselves stuff, all right? Information and education has always been held by the powerful and by the rich, right? And then, of course, people started to have public education, learned how to read, but still the knowledge on how to do different careers and stuff was owned by the educational institutions of colleges and everything else. But then we had this crazy thing called the World Wide Web, all right? Information is free. It's everywhere. You can self-teach yourself anything, all right? It is a Google search, is it a YouTube search away. So listen, I don't like college. I don't like young kids starting off their life $200,000 in debt. I don't like it. Now, certain jobs, you need it. If you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, etc., you need to go to college. You need to go into debt, and you need to get that, certification or whatever, right? But a lot of times, these young kids are going to college. They're in debt to learn some stuff that they could have just learned by Googling on YouTube, all right? Look, I don't think it makes financial sense for many of these people, young people, going in college and starting off their life in debt when they could get that same knowledge absolutely free. And many times I see people going to college and getting a degree, and then they go out into the job field and they end up working a job that their degree is meaningless, right? They're getting underpaid. So look, I'm not a fan of institutional education at all. And for those of you looking for advice, here's my advice. Do the work. Self-teach yourself. It's all there. It's online, and you got to get multiple sources, right? You might get bad information from one source. So you got to hear what another person has to say on the topic, right? And then you got to decide. You got to do trial and error. I mean, look, the saying goes, you got to fail to win. You have to. You got to learn yourself. More to say on the subject, but I want you to think about this, all right? When you're self-teaching yourself something, think about things that you've already learned in school, and think about subjects that you were passionate about, that you were excited about, and you actually wanted to learn and you were interested in. For me, it was history, right? I've been a history buff forever, since I was a little kid. In social studies in school, I was like, dude, I wanted all the information. I loved history. Math, didn't care about it at all right? I don't remember anything I learned on math at all, but I learned, all this stuff in history and all these stories about our past, and I know them so much. I know every little details of like the Civil War and like just that stuff I cared about, right? And when you're self-teaching yourself a career or a field of, how you're going to make money or whatever, you got to care about it. You got to actually be interested in that, right? So whatever you want to do, you got to make sure you really want to do it, because then you're actually going to learn, all right? So many of you are on autopilot, right? You're sheep and like, oh, my parents say this, so I got to learn this, or my teacher says this, and I got to learn this. No. When you're self-teaching, you got to be a wolf. It's up to you. You're the boss. You're in charge. It's all you, all right? Because if you do what someone else wants you to do, like, oh, go learn this or whatever, bro, you're not going to learn it. Dude, you only have to self-teach yourself if you want to. You have to want to do it. You have to be the executive. You have to be the CEO of yourself and make the decision. This is what we are doing as a company. We're going to learn this and we're going in this direction, right? Can't follow. You got to lead.